Was a second Inside Out movie really necessary? Well, let's talk about that. I went into this movie with the mindset that Inside Out was a near perfect movie. It's one of the best movies that came out of Pixar Studios. It had this beautiful story that probably all of us can relate to, and it kind of made you feel like your emotions are valid. And the second movie picks up not long after the first movie, and it introduces a few new emotions. Emotions that I bet a lot of us felt as teenagers and that we all still feel today. So, while I didn't think a sequel was necessary, I do appreciate this movie a little more after watching it. It's a really, really good follow up on Inside Out. While it wasn't totally necessary, I do think it's an important movie with a great story that a lot of people can relate to. So let's start with the bad. I do feel like there are some creative choices or writing choices that could have been a little different, that would have elevated the movie a little more. But that said, I don't really have any critique for this movie. It's not as perfect or as great as the first one, but it's still good enough to exist. I mean, it does exist now, so there's nothing we can do about it. But I do think it's a movie that a lot of people will love, a lot of people will find some solace in, or it kind of makes you feel like people understand you, what you're going through, especially as a teenager or someone who suffers from diseases like depression or anxiety. There was a really wonderful scene where Riley has a panic attack. I hope I'm not giving away too much information, but in that moment, it felt like an actual anxiety attack. What it feels like when you have a panic attack. Even the way the emotions were portrayed during that scene kind of feels like what's going on in your head during such an attack. And the film itself, the story is wonderful, even though it could have been better. The new characters are wonderful. The new emotions just really fit the progression of Riley as a character and the film's progression into taking her from a child to a teenager. And I do think that a third movie might actually be a beautiful conclusion to all these emotions and seeing other emotions come to life, sort of, in Riley's head. Inside Out has a special place in my heart. It's definitely one of my top three Pixar movies. A movie that I've rewatched multiple times and that I will definitely still rewatch. And I do feel like this is also one of those movies that I can rewatch. It might not be top 10 or so Pixar, or actually it might be. I will be doing a Pixar ranking, so you can go check that out on my website. And I might actually do a video of it as well. But yeah, this movie was is beautiful. The story is one that hits a little close to home, even though I'm not a hockey player. But the emotions is something that I can definitely relate to, even as an adult. The other new characters, like there are a few cool, funny cameo characters that just stand out. There's a character that makes you think of Final Fantasy, and there's a character that's like a combination of Mickey Mouse and Dora the Explorer, which is also it provides a lot of entertainment, and it's really that's mostly for the kids, but I enjoyed those moments. So yeah, Pixar movies might be animated movies and seem like they are marketed towards kids, but I do think as adults, as parents, or anybody else can relate to these stories or these characters in these movies. So Inside Out 2, while, like I said, I didn't think it was necessary, I now see it as an important film that tells an important story of, just finding yourself, believing in yourself, and just finding purpose in life and everything you do. It really is a wonderful story that Pixar tells in a beautiful way. The animation is once again fantastic from start to finish. The voice acting is brilliant. It is a little short. It's under an hour and a half, basically. But I do think it does tell its story beautifully in such a short amount of time. Inside Out 2 is out in theaters, so I really hope you go watch it and you enjoy it as much as I do. It's definitely one of the better movies to come from Pixar over the last 4 or 5 years.